Hi, Young Gardeners Program. This is Casey again, and I'm here in my daughter's room. She's here playing with some blocks. I'm here with a new book for you, and we've got our friends up there. So let's get started. Today we're reading Cactus Hotel by Brenda Z. Guiberson, and illustrated by Lloyd. We're going to read this book today because it has been raining a lot, and I always think about cactus when it rains. Here's the title page. On a hot, dry day in the desert, a bright red fruit falls from a tall saguaro cactus. Plop! It splits apart on the sandy floor. 2,000 black seeds glisten in the sunlight. Can you see all the seeds? When the air cools in the evening, an old pack rat comes out and eats the juicy fruit. Then he skitters across the sand. A seed left clinging to his whiskers falls under a palo verde tree. It is a good place for the seed to drop. A spotted ground squirrel looking for something to eat does not see it. A house finch chirping high in the palo verde does not see it. There's the pack rat. And there's the palo verde tree. Do you see the bird up high and the squirrel down low? They don't see the seed. After many dry days, a heavy rain falls on the desert. Soon, a young cactus sprouts up from the ground. Slowly, slowly, the seedling grows. The palo verde protects it from the hot summer sun and cold winter nights. After 10 years, the cactus is only 4 inches high. It is just big enough for desert ants to climb boop, 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 its spiny sides. After a rainstorm, when the desert blooms with color, the cactus pulls in water with its long roots and looks fat. A young pack rat stops to drink the water that drips off the tree. Then she scurries off, looking for a dry place to make her nest. You see the ants on the fat 4-inch cactus? When there is no rain, the cactus uses up the water it is stored inside, and it looks thin. The palo verde loses its tiny leaves, but there is always some shade for the cactus below. After 25 years, the cactus is 2 feet tall. A jackrabbit cools off beside it and gnaws on the green pulp. But when a coyote moves into the distance, the jackrabbit disappears into a nearby hole. You see that coyote? Oh, there's its silhouette. There's your jackrabbit. After 50 years, the cactus stands 10 feet tall and looks straight and strong beside the old palo verde. For the very first time, brilliant white and yellow flowers appear at the top of the cactus. Every spring from now on, the flowers will open for 1 night only, and then close in the heat of the day. They beckon like a welcoming signal across the desert. At different times of the day and night, birds, bees, and bats come for the nectar. Who's on top? Hummingbird getting the blossoms. I see all kinds of birds. Swallows and bats. Some kind of bird of prey. Crow, maybe, actually. The flowers dry up, and after a month, the bright red fruit filled with black seeds is ripe and ready. A Gila woodpecker comes to eat. He looks around the cactus, and he decides to stay. He has found the perfect place in the desert to begin a new hotel. There's the Oh, look at that beautiful red spot right on the top of its head. Ooh, it's eating that juicy fruit. That is a good spot for a hotel. Look how tall the cactus is now. It towers over the Palo Verde tree. Look, Mama. The woodpecker goes right to work, and the only tool he uses is his long, hard beak. Tap, tap, tap. He bores into the flesh of the cactus. Tap, tap, tap. He digs deep inside to make a space that is comfortable and roomy. The cactus is not harmed, don't worry. It forms a tough scab all around the hole to protect itself from drying out. The woodpecker gets a weatherproof nest that is shady on hot days and warm and insulated on frosty nights. And the cactus gets something in return. The woodpecker likes to eat the insects that can bring disease to the cactus. Look at it making its hole. Look. And look, the woodpecker's inside eating a worm. After 60 years, the Cactus Hotel is 18 feet tall. To add more space, it begins to grow an arm. A woodpecker has a new hole in the trunk. Farther up, a white-winged dove makes a nest in the arm. And down below, an old hole is discovered by an elf owl. Yeah, the birds feel safe living high up in a prickly plant where nothing can reach them. Look at that. Do you see down below? What's down at the bottom of the cactus? Another coyote. It wishes it could get to these guys, but it can't. All around the desert, there are holes of every size for ants and mice, lizards and snakes, rabbits and foxes. After 150 years, there are holes of every size in the cactus too. The giant plant has finally stopped growing. It is 50 feet tall after 150 years with 7 long branches. It weighs 8 tons, about as much as 5 automobiles. Look at all of the homes we can see. I see a foxhole, a hole with a snake, a jackrabbit, ooh, a coral snake, a ground squirrel, some type of lizard I can't tell here. Look at that guy. Little pack rats, and all of the holes in the cactus. So many homes. So many homes. Look. Everybody wants to live in the Cactus Hotel. Birds lay eggs and pack rats raise their young. Even insects and bats live there. And when one animal moves out, another moves in. And every spring they come for a special treat of nectar and juicy red fruit. Look at all of the friends that live in that cactus. I see an owl. Let's get close. I see some eggs. There's the fruit. Another Gila woodpecker. Looks like a dove. Oh, and look, one of my favorites. Finally, after 200 years, the old cactus sways in a gust of wind, and it falls with a thud to the sandy floor. Its great thorny arms crumble in the crash. What does that mean now? What does that mean now? Do you think that means it's the end of the story for the cactus? The creatures that live up high must find other homes. But those that prefer to live down low move right in. A millipede, a scorpion, and many ants and termites quickly find homes in the toppled hotel. After many months, all that remains are the wooden ribs that supported the cactus while it stood so tall. A collared lizard dashes over the top, looking for insects, and a ground snake huddles in the shade below. Can you find the ground snake? There it is. And there's the collared lizard. But on this side, what can you see? There's the scorpion. And all around there is a forest of cacti slowly growing in the desert. Through hot and cold, wet and dry, some will survive long enough to become other cactus hotels. Look at that forest of saguaros. Aren't they beautiful? And that's the end. I won't read everything here about saguaro cactus, but they can only be found in the Sonoran Desert of southern Arizona and northern Mexico. So does that mean can they grow in Texas? Can they grow in Galveston? No. We can have other cactus, but not saguaros. Saguaros do not have leaves. A tree with broad leaves can lose 100 gallons of water in a day. The cactus can't afford to do that because they don't get enough rain where they are. They have adapted their shape and tissues so that it loses less than 1 glass of water per day. It hoards water and it uses that moisture to stock up during the long dry periods of the desert. Does this leafless plant have any wood? The long straight rods inside, the ribs that we saw on the other page, there are wood. Human desert dwellers have always valued this material for building. They make good roofs, fences, and fuel. It is also useful for reaching the fruit at the top of the cactus. That red juicy fruit we talked about. Without saguaros, there would be a severe shortage of food and nesting sites for creatures in the desert, just like we saw in this book. And we can end it by seeing some creatures here in the end of this book. I see a jackrabbit, another ground snake, looks like a quail, and a pack rat. Look at that cute little pack rat. And that is Cactus Hotel. Thanks for joining me.